And now we'll have Daniel Jerome, Managing Director of RGA, give a talk on the next 9 years of advertising.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Want to start by saying how grateful and excited I am to have this opportunity to talk with you all today, to be here in Beirut with a final sunny day. I think from London I might have brought some rainy weather, but I'm happy to see the sun come out. It hasn't slowed things down the slightest. It has been an amazing week. The opportunity in digital and the future and optimism around digital is palpable here for the MENA region. And especially with the entrepreneurs who have been here, that we've been hearing from all week. So RGA, my company, is a global agency, a full-service global agency with digital at its heart. And a lot of what we've been talking about this week have been challenges and opportunities kind of in the near term, and wanted to do something a little bit different and talk from our agency's, our industry's perspective on where things are going a little bit longer term, thinking more about 9 years from now. So hopefully this will be interesting for anybody here from the agency world, and the marketing side, and some of the entrepreneurs who are just thinking up their next idea. It's a lot to go over in a very short amount of time, so I'll go as quickly as I can, but my hope is that we can continue the conversation after I get off stage. So maybe the thing to do is to put my little droplet in the ocean so that you know how to find me. Well, I hope it comes up shortly. And that we can continue this conversation as we go. Now, so why 9 years? Specifically, this has to do more with my company, where we were founded in 1977, and we've basically reinvented ourselves just about every 9 years, kind of at the same cadence that technology revolutions, particularly radical ones, have come along. And so, being that we're near the end of our 4th cycle, it's time to think about what's up for the next 9 years for RGA. This talk isn't just about my company, though. We'd like to think that because our business is riding on the success of our clients' businesses, that the trends that we've been following and finding are relevant to the entire industry, as well as to our clients and potential new product developers who are out there. So brief history, RGA started in 1977. The vision was to combine design and technology to create amazing experiences, visual experiences for film.
Zain, the leading wireless
What's going on? Let me go back a little bit, sorry. Can you rewind a little bit? Thank you. Combining design and technology for creating great visual effects in film. We pioneered digital computer-assisted filmmaking, and it was all created in-house. The software was written in-house, the hardware. In fact, it culminated with winning an Academy Award for technical innovation. That grew until about 1986, when our 2nd cycle began. The success we'd been having in visual effects, we decided to broaden out, merging film industry as well as video and television, commercial production, and motion graphics into the world's first integrated production studio. It was sort of the Lucasfilm of the East Coast, based in New York. And that continued to grow for another 9 years, and by 1995, the mid-90s, 2 big changes in our industry. Number one, desktop computers were getting much more powerful, and a lot of the turnkey solutions that we had built in the years past were now easily available as off-the-shelf software. So the cost of entry into our business had gotten much lower, and we were basically being commoditized. The second trend, of course, was the advent of the internet. And so our founders decided that the next move for us was to take our original mission, which is to combine design and technology to create radical experiences, to the web. And that grew and grew, of course, as you all know, the history of digital. And by 2004, we had actually become more of a full-service agency with capabilities in traditional storytelling, systematic design and development. We'd gone, when I started in 2004, we were 200 people in New York. As of this year, we're over 1,100 globally. And our capabilities, which do include traditional advertising, and media, but they all have digital at the heart, and we find ourselves, instead of chasing mass media opportunities, we're really chasing our consumers wherever they want to have digital experiences. So the first case study that I want to share with you is a good example of that. This was some work that we did recently in Bahrain for Zain.
Zain, the leading wireless services provider in the Middle East and Africa, came to us to help them create the store of the future today. The Zain flagship store in Bahrain represents a new retail experience where technology brings guests closer to Zain products through touch, sight, and sound. At the heart of the store is a massive installation of LCD monitors where synchronized brand images and dynamic text messages sent by visitors unfold in real time. At the phone bar, customers can touch and hold devices they're interested in and learn more about each model through interactive displays. At the Zain Create area, guests can custom design their devices on a touchscreen. An in-store specialist then applies the selected overlays, beads, and other accessories. While they wait, customers can relax at Cafe Zain or check out the music station that streams the region's top 10 tracks through music service Rotana. Like a song? Just text the shortcode on the display to download the MP3. Displays serve up content in both English and Arabic. We custom built a rendering engine in Flash to composite specialized Arabic fonts. Guests lacking digital fluency can still find the best choice for their needs with the help of customer representatives trained in the use of the store's interactive displays. Once they decide on a purchase, guests can check in by touchscreen, receive a ticket or SMS message alerting them when a representative is available for checkout, and view signage throughout the store that lets them know their place in line. And existing Zain customers can quickly pay their bill at one of the express payment displays simply by entering their handset code. It all adds up to a more intuitive and entertaining way to engage with Zain and its products.
Okay, great. So now on to the next 9 years. The next cycle is about to begin for us, and the question is, where are we going next? And again, this is a little bit about my company, but I'm hoping that these thoughts are relevant to you and yours. I'll break it into a little bit about why we feel like we need to reinvent, and then a couple things about how we're going to do it. Why we need to reinvent really requires understanding our clients and where our clients are going, and it requires a very, very brief tour history of business in the 20th century. Specifically for our clients to succeed, they require growth, and there have been two main mechanisms of growth in the 20th century. The first, most of our clients, the Fortune 500 clients that we deal with, they start with a single product, the black dot in the middle, and they seek out customers for that product. And through the use of mass media and agencies like RGA to create some brand awareness, get some excitement, and attract customers to that product. And over time, the next real step is generally been to create a massive number of additional products in a process we call horizontal integration. We can be talking about hundreds of products to try to really dominate the entire market. Sometimes segmented very carefully, sometimes not, but the key is to try to dominate the category. A great example of this would be Coca-Cola. What started with Dr. John Pemberton in the late 1800s in his small pharmacy in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was selling about 10 drinks a day that he invented. The company that we know today has over 500 brands, 3,500 specific products in over 200 countries, and they're serving more like 1.7 billion drinks per day. Very typical form of growth that we see. Now, since I am trying to talk a little bit about the agency universe, well, that's pretty good for agencies too, because every one of those products needs to be introduced to the world, needs to be differentiated, it needs to attract customers. So that's potentially a lot of work for a lot of agencies. Okay. One important note, I don't think it really mattered the relationship between which customers and which products. We could have one customer who's interested in 3 or 4 of your products, or a different customer interested in a different product. It didn't really matter. The system worked so long as there were people out there willing to buy. Is this running out of steam a little bit? But it leads to a problem. A big problem, and that's obviously proliferation of choice. Too many choices, too many opportunities, crowding the shelves, crowding the commercial space, and competition. You think about Coca-Cola with their 500 brands. Now they're competing against PepsiCo with their 200 brands. And in the customer's minds, it all starts to be very difficult to differentiate one from another. And you end up in a world of commoditization of your products. Right? The only thing that kept horizontal integration from crashing to the ground, I would say, is globalization. When your mature market has as many things as you can fit on the shelves, there's always a new market. Well, clearly everybody knows that that's a finite supply, and that's not going to last forever. So when we talk to our clients, and they think about the old formula of using line extensions fueled by mass media, there's an end to the kind of growth that that's going to create. Interesting to note that what's also happening at the same time is that agencies are being commoditized. For every one of these products that needs to be advertised, there's 10 agencies willing to do it. And for any of you in the audience who are from the agency world, you know that when your client growth starts to slow, a typical reaction is to blame the agency, fire them, put the account into review, and find another agency willing to do the exact same work for less. Another key way of growing from the 20th century is what we would call vertical integration. Now, this is the process of buying up your value or supply chain in the hopes mainly of squeezing out cost, capturing more of the full value chain by yourself. The biggest example of this would be the oil industry, where in a lot of cases they actually pull the oil out of the ground, they refine it into its final valuable product, they ship it all over the world, and in a lot of cases even sell it out of their own stores. But our friends at Coca-Cola, they're doing a little bit of the same thing. In fact, in North America, they've been buying up the bottlers and distributors that sell their products. So that's kind of a quick look at the key engines of growth in the 20th century. You've got horizontal and vertical integration. But what's happening in the 21st century? What are the things that are relevant to all of us in this room? I think that what we found, there's some very, very smart companies who are looking at the marketing landscape in a completely different way. Instead of thinking about how they can fuel growth with line extensions or by buying up the value chain, they're thinking about how they can create different types of value for their customers. In fact, trying to create ecosystems of value. And the way to test if you have an ecosystem of value is to say you have your product portfolio and you add another element, a product or service to your portfolio. Does the purchase of that additional product or service add value to the ones that they already own? Let me try to explain that a little bit differently. So you start with a product that you have customers for, and you add a second product, generally using the technology of connected media that makes the first product even better to own. And as you add nodes around this one customer, each node that you do add creates more and more value for the customer. This is an ecosystem of value. We call this functional integration because what you're doing is generating growth by creating more functionality that was capable from more products as opposed to fewer. Textbook case of this would be Apple. In 1997, when Steve Jobs first came back to Apple, their key product, the Macintosh, had just under 2% market share. The company had been written off. It was either going to go completely out of business or it was going to be relegated to some niche market supporting creative professionals like the folks that I work with. But In 2000, Steve Jobs introduced OS 10, and when he did, he added a piece of software that was automatically included called iTunes. And iTunes at the time let you rip your own CDs into an MP3 collection on your computer, play your music on your computer, create playlists, and have a lot of fun with it on your computer. But 11 months later, he added the iPod, which took all that great music that you were managing with this software on your Macintosh. You could now carry it with you, the 1,000 songs in your pocket. And we all know what happens next. They added the music store, and you could buy the music directly to play on your iPod or to run through iTunes on your Macintosh. Then the iPhone came along, which allowed the same thing, iPad, the App Store, and then most recently, last year, when they announced iCloud. Now, iCloud is the bit that I think explains functional integration the best. There's a great ad playing now in the UK where I am that shows somebody taking a photograph with their iPhone, and back at their house where their computer is on, the photo automatically shows up in their photo library. Okay? You can't have that experience without an iPhone. You can't have that experience without a Macintosh. You can't have that experience without iCloud. Each node of that ecosystem makes the other nodes better than what they would be by themselves. But I don't want you to think that Apple's the only guys doing this. Google's a good example. You start with the world's greatest search engine, and the kinds of services that they've added, like Gmail, blogging tools, YouTube, Google Docs, all these things add up to a better functionally integrated system. Again, using the technology of connected media. Android in this ecosystem is the best example for me to show what functional integration is really all about. You wouldn't originally expect a search company to create their own operating system for mobile phones or eventually their own phone. But the first time you use Android, you understand. I know I did. When I first picked up my Android phone and that big Google search box was there and I typed 259 in the search box, the first thing that it did was it pulled my mother's home address, because that's her street number, out of my contacts from Gmail. Then it let me, it offered to make the call to her, or send her an email, or to find her address on Google Maps, or to get directions on the phone using navigation. That is functional integration. It's really terrific. And for everybody who thought that the initial success of iPhone meant that they were going to squash everyone else, was quite surprised by how successful Android has been. Other types of functional integration, you consider e-commerce. Amazon, you start with the world's biggest online retailer. They added things like music management, cloud services, e-books, and then finally there they are launching their own e-book reader, which at the time you'd think was a crazy thing for Amazon to do. But in the context of functional integration, this makes perfect sense, especially with the tablet Kindle Fire that came out not too long ago. With Kindle Fire, you have the ability to manage all that stuff that you like to buy from Amazon, use their great services through connected media. I don't want you to think this is only for Silicon Valley companies. The things that we've been seeing at RGA are happening all over the world in all sorts of different kinds of companies. So one company we don't work with, but BMW, as a few years ago, you would say they're just a great car company, not exactly a technology company. But the things that they've been announcing in the last 24 months, like Drive Now, which is sort of like a zip car rental service for BMWs, Connected Drive, which adds all sorts of network capabilities to your drive, even a key fob that has near-field communication in it and will allow you to do purchases at retail. All businesses that you wouldn't suspect that they would be in, all adding value. One company that we've worked a lot with over the last 10 years is Nike. And when we started working with them 10 years ago, they were a great, perhaps the world's greatest athletic footwear and apparel brand. But starting in 2006, when we helped them launch Nike Plus, which is basically it's a system where you put a little sensor inside your running shoe, and it tracks data about how you run, how fast you're going, where you're going, and uploads it to Nike servers where you can track your own progress. You can see how you're doing. You can compete with friends. You can form an entire social network around your interest in running. To other types of services like Nike ID, where you can customize your own shoe and have it sent to you from online, to a bunch of training tools that are available on mobile and social. These are all things that you wouldn't expect to come from a footwear company. How are we doing? We all right? Because I got a video coming up that I want to make sure it works. The interesting part about Nike and all of these examples that I've shown you about functional integration is that it's getting a lot harder to tell what a company does for a living. 10 years ago, I would say Apple was a PC maker, and now they're a record label and potentially getting into TVs and all this other sort of random stuff that you hear about. Very hard to describe what they do. Same thing with Nike. Well, they made shoes 10 years ago. Now when you think of the combination of products and services that they provide, it's really hard to say what the business is that they're in. But the key is to think about the mission of the company. So Nike's mission has always been to inspire and enable athletic performance in everyday athletes. And the only difference is they're just doing it a different way now. So for any brand, I think the important thing to do when you're thinking about functional integration is make sure that you have a bold, strong mission that you can live by and stick to, and that will help define the kind of functionally integrated ecosystems that you need to deliver. So it makes you think.
5 years ago, Nike put...
Can you go back a second? Can we wiggle it or something? Sorry, 1 second. No. Okay, better. So it makes you think about what the company really stands for. And so this next case study sort of says what it is that's going on, the transformation that's happening inside of Nike. One minute? Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Thanks for hanging on. I'll give it 1 more minute, and then I'll just... Well, I'll tell you what. So I'll just move right along until we get this back. Oh, we have it. Thank you.
5 years ago, Nike put a chip in running shoes, and it pretty much changed the sport. In 2010, we had an idea. What if we took everything that was great about Nike Plus, added all the features that were on our wish list at the time, and then turned the entire thing into a mobile app that could be used by any runner, anywhere, even if you aren't wearing Nike shoes. Nike Plus GPS uses GPS technology to track your route and produce a visualization. Your pace and progress are measured and displayed on a color-coded map, so you can see where you logged your fastest miles with the elevation of your run visually broken down. You can also let your friends on Facebook know when you've begun a run. When they like your run or drop a comment, you'll hear a live cheer of encouragement. You can even sign up to get celebrity attaboys.
You ran all week. Who does that?
Switch to indoor mode to let the accelerometer track your workout. With the Nike Plus GPS app, we took the preferred platform of the largest running community, made it even cooler, and put it right in the palm of your hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, great stuff, right? It's not the company that you thought they were. So here we are talking about a functionally integrated world, and I promised this was really about agencies and what's in it for us. One possible solution is, hey, agencies can do, thank you, agencies can create the campaigns that generate awareness about the different nodes on the system. Well, that is one approach. But given everything I've already said before about the commoditization of agency work, I think our interest is in potentially doing the whole thing, helping our clients to create their own functionally integrated ecosystems of value. So that was a little bit about the why our company, and we think the industry as a whole, is going to transform over the next decade or so. But I want to talk about how we're actually doing it, because I think that's the important lesson for hopefully everyone. Where we were as of a couple years ago, we had a diverse set of staff from visual designers, interaction designers, copywriters, production and client service folks, technology in particular, and then some strategic offerings like planning, analytics, media, and even digital studio. We brought back our digital studio capability in the service of the integrated creative. But what we have to do next, I think, in the service of this view, is to add some more capabilities to what we deliver for our clients, particularly around traditional business consulting in two specific ways. One, around business modeling. So in order to create a functionally integrated ecosystem, we have to do some real basic new product development to help size markets and market opportunities and help them to prioritize what it is next for them to build. And then second is organizational design. If you think Nike made an easy transition to being a technology service provider, or Amazon to become a tablet maker, of course, internally, there must have been massive organizational changes, and I think that's another way that agencies can help our clients out. Another thing that's changing for us is an understanding the importance of context. In the traditional agency world, there are some very well-defined roles, and they're easy to replicate globally, which is why a lot of traditional agencies were able to grow so fast to hundreds of offices globally. But with this kind of work that we're doing, it takes a massive number of disciplines. So just within visual design alone, we have over a dozen capabilities. And there's no one person who can do all of these things. We have creatives of every type. In technology, it's even fiercer. We have over a dozen different capabilities, but we as a company are technology agnostic. We don't particularly prefer one type over another. We just need what's right for the solution for the client. And so that means we might be working in a Java environment, we might be working in a .NET environment, we might be working in Ruby or something else. And so we need to replicate this capability across platforms. And then when you look at all of our departments all together, we figure that we have over 100 different capabilities that need to be firing on all cylinders at different times. We don't use them all the time. For digital advertising, for relationship marketing, e-commerce development, your general platform and campaign, each of them is going to require a different capability. Digital advertising, for example, might use this subset of our people. Mobile application development, another kind of expertise. And on and on and on, and it's a little bit unpredictable because we never really do the same thing twice. It's not like the good old days of making television spots and print ads. So this next example.
In the NBA, a player's moves are their signature on the court. LeBron's crossover, Kevin Durant's counter 62, Deron Williams' hesitation dribble. Nike set out to teach today's pro moves to the next generation of stars by creating the Signature Moves film room. Part half court, part green screen, 100% education. The Signature Moves film room first broke down the pros' moves step by step, making it easy for kids to learn. The kids then studied the moves with the help of Nike trainers.
Back, hesitation. Deron Williams. All right, you gonna make it happen out there? All right, get by on top, right?
And perform the moves as a computer program analyzed the film in order to separate it frame by frame.
The Signature Moves film room application is capable of extracting motion from a still background. The program would subtract the background, leaving only the athlete and the ball. When we shoot a succession of still images, it would recomposite them into one image in a way that the kid would be able to understand something about his performance at a glance.
These processed images were sent to printers, and within minutes, those kids were presented with personalized Nike posters of themselves doing the moves.
Yeah, I'm a little excited. I dribbled, and then I crossed over. It's pretty sick.
As well as a video showing the moves in action. The videos were uploaded to their baller's resume, a new way for athletes to socialize and store and display their game for coaches and colleges to see. And for maximum impact, we unveiled the film room at the 2010 World Basketball Festival in New York City, at the Mecca of basketball, the Rucker.
More of an international flavor of hoops and culture to New York City this week for the Nike World Basketball Festival.
Hundreds of participants learned and performed signature moves and got basketball lessons from NBA pros.
I chose Andre Iguodala. He did it, and I also got to watch how he did it, so I could probably do it the same.
Now kids can hang a Nike poster starring themselves next to posters of their basketball idols. The Signature Moves Film Room set the stage for future film rooms at basketball events around the world, where the next generation will learn the moves that will one day define their game.
Okay. So one last point about the orchestration of talent. Folks like Josh Balick, who spoke in that, possess some pretty spectacular individual talents, and it's not the kind of thing that we can replicate in every office in our global network. And so we have to think about each office being composed slightly differently of this type of talent. And in order for that to work, we have to be able to access that talent from across the network. So rather than rolling out our network as these sort of rubber-stamped individual offices, we look at the organization of our company as one big office where the hallways are just pretty long. Now what that means is that you need enabling technologies to allow that kind of work, that complex kind of work, to happen, starting with management tools, near and dear to my heart from business operations. We need the ability to, in real time, understand what everyone across the network is working on, have the ability to allocate and manage resources and cost in real time. There is no correct solution that you can buy off the shelf for this, so we had to build it ourselves. It's a work in progress. We've been working on it for over 8 years, and that's how we manage the work that we do. Additionally, collaboration tools. There are some free ones, there are some off-the-shelf solutions, but again, especially with storage area networks, media management, internet-based asset management, it's important that you have all the right pieces. And then lastly, communication tools. Anybody who works in a creative profession knows how important that collaboration and communication are. And when you're working across offices the way that we do, it's simply not enough to have a phone call. So we've made a very big bet on video conferencing. Every computer at RGA, every conference room, every desktop, every person's laptop is video conferencing enabled. You can start or join any video conference from any machine within our network. So we're really thinking that the shift is going to come from voice and text for collaboration to video and text. So in sum, thinking not about horizontal and vertical integration, but functional integration as the method of growth for our clients in the future globally. You'll see it here too. And we hope that these kind of things will inspire the local agencies, the marketers in the region, and the lovely, wonderful entrepreneurs that we've been hearing from all week to think about how they design their services. So thank you. I do hope we continue this conversation.